Good morning, and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. I am Graham Hughes. It is Thursday, the 10th of April, 2025. Well done on making it this far. In the chat, we have Scott, we have Pete's Music, we have Audrey White, we have SG and Sonic Shadow 191, amongst others. If you would like to join our friends in the chat here, all you need to do is hit that subscribe button. Wait for about a minute, and you'll be able to opine on what we're discussing this morning. And the main thrust of what we're going to be talking about this morning is the fact that Trump blinked. Oh yes, he did. He chickened out. In the game of chicken, he was the chicken. As you know, we probably saw coming a mile away, because this guy is he's a hollow shell of a human being by any given metric. He is the worst. There's going to have been a load of insider trading that's gone on in the White House with all his billionaire chums gambling on the markets, but the stocks weren't the reason why he chickened out. It wasn't because of the stock market, it was because of something else, which I'll come to in a moment. But he has now paused or slashed the tariffs after just 14 hours of them being up. He's taken them down. He has this reversal comes just days after he had written in all caps on Lies Social, his platform, "My policies will never change." All right, mate. Good not changing there. That was a great bit of not changing you did when you actually, changed it. You changed your when you changed your policies, it seemed like you changed them. Just saying, whatever. So for 36 hours, he told his followers, his acolytes, his morons, his army of dickheads to hang tight. He told them to hang tight for 36 hours. He told them to be cool and hang tight. And he said that tariffs were the medicine. Except when they poison the patient, I guess. But tariffs are the medicine, he said. These are people who don't believe in medicine. These are people who don't believe in vaccines. People who don't believe doctors have your best interests at heart. Do you know who has your best interests at heart? Failed reality TV show hosts. Yeah, get those reality TV show hosts in charge, because they know what they're doing, don't they? Jesus Christ. So he said, be cool. He said, hang tough. And then he lost his bottle. Because of course he fucking did. He's Donald Trump. He's a shit. He's vermin. He's an absolute scumbag. When he carks it, people are going to be dancing on the streets. There's going to be fireworks. I'm actually thinking of buying some fireworks ready, putting them in some storage container or something so they don't explode. Having them ready for when I get the news, because I'm going to go. I'm going to go party. I am. I don't know about you, but I am totally going to go party. Just let me sit down a little bit there. I realised I was a bit high on the screen. So it's just all quite funny, really. I say funny, it's tragic, really, isn't it? So I'm going to just set a timer for the goal this morning. We're going to try and do a super chat goal. I'm going to try and do this some more, just to sort of, encourage maybe a little bit. I want to talk to you later about a report that's come out from the Media, Wildlife and Sport, or whatever it's called, Culture, Media and Sport Committee. I'll talk about that later. I'll just put CMS on my pad here so I remember. But something very interesting came out as a response to it. Something very close to my heart. What should I do to celebrate? I'll say thank you. I need to think of better ways to celebrate if we get our super chat goals. Okay, so goal is live. 1 hour, 10 super chats. Any. So you put a quid in, and we'll get there. Cluck rump, says Alistair. Got the tiny violin playing for the cluck chicken. Lies Social galore indeed. Trump choked his chicken. Lol, says Liebshin. 1 hour, says Nick. Yeah, I did it. This was the opposite of a pump and dump scheme. I've been saying this would happen for days. Tank the markets, friends buy low, pull tariffs, markets rally, friends make much money, insider dealing. Yeah. Seriously, there's going to be so much money in the pockets of the already rich as a result of this. But yeah, he campaigned on reciprocal tariffs and putting America first. 5 days after launching the biggest tariff package in modern history, he has U-turned. Sometimes you have to go around the wall, he said. No, Donny. No diaper, Donny. The wall is you, dickhead. You're the wall. You're the barrier to trade. You big, horrible, mangy, orange Snorlax, you. Just lying there like a big blob in the way, so we can't get on with, our lives. Suzanne Casey, thank you very much for the $5 all the way from the US of A. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Trump was made an expert on stock market manipulation by his dad, Fred. Yeah, the massive racist. Yeah, it's funny how Musk's dad is a massive racist and Trump's dad was a massive racist. They're just massive racists, all of them. Ooh, FT Griffin, thank you very much for the £1 super chat. Yeah. Now we're cooking. Right, so yeah. the art of the deal. So Lever has said it was fake news. Trump has called it a pause button. Bessett said it's working. Meanwhile, Musk famously yesterday said Navarro, Peter Navarro, who's Trump's trade advisor, the guy who's written 14 books, where he talks about this person that he's talked to about how economies work as an economic expert that he's just fucking made up. His name is an anagram of Peter Navarro's own name. Yeah, Musk said of him, Navarro is dumber than a sack of bricks. This isn't strategy. This isn't policy. It's chaos. It's just chaos. It's just absolute madness. You turn Trump, the unlucky snide chicken, says Jez Hunt. Absolutely. Simon Smith, Louise Haigh, Labour MP, has a petition to get NDAs banned in the UK. It's on 38 degrees. Yeah. I do think there is a place for NDAs when there is a particular trade secret or something like that, when you understand why that information can't get out. But making people sign NDAs so they don't feel like they can report people breaking the law at their company, people sexually assaulting people at their company, they're forced to sign NDAs if they have been sexually assaulted themselves, to not mention it. Yeah, we need to get rid of it. Let's see if we can get our friend James O'Brien on this. Say, hey James, why don't we get rid of NDAs? How do you feel about that, James? If you were free to say anything you liked about your daddy parent company, global player. Yeah, global media even. Yeah, maybe. I'm just saying maybe. I'm not saying he has to, but maybe he'll get on board. I don't know. Do you think he'll get on board? Do you think Sangeeta might get on board? I think she would. Anyway, so what forced the U-turn? Well, the stock market reaction. Yeah, that's what everyone thinks. NASDAQ, they just had the second best ever day since the reversal, since the NASDAQ started. S&P, best session on the S&P since World War II, which Trump is going to claim that it was absolutely brilliant now. Although it's a lot lower than it was at the start of Trump's presidency, still. But yeah, the reason. Oh, here we go. Kate Smith, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Messaging by sycophants is hilarious. 4D chess. Yeah. Trump comes along and says, I'll make everything cheaper. I'll make your groceries cheaper. I love that word groceries, he says. It's like he's just learnt the word groceries because he's never had to go to a supermarket. Imagine a man, 80 years old, who's never had to go to a supermarket. Can you imagine living for that long and never having to go to the supermarket? Isn't that fucking mind-blowing? I mean, your mind should be blown by that fact. He's never had to go to a supermarket. Wow. Groceries. I love the word grocery. He keeps saying it. He keeps going on about the word groceries. Because he's fucking senile as well. He's got dementia. Clearly. But yeah, here's the big thing. It was the bond markets. James Bond markets, which are government debt, which are you lend money to the government and you say, here you go, here's 100 quid. And the government go, great, I'm going to keep that 100 quid for 10 years. And then at the end of it, I'm going to give you 110 quid. And this is how governments raise money. They raise revenue for infrastructure projects, or I don't know, giving money to their mates, cutting taxes, whatever you want to do. The 10-year Treasury yield, so that's the money you get back at the end of the 10 years, spiked from 4% to 4.5%, which doesn't sound like much, but you're talking about over $1 trillion worth of bonds here. And so the bond market was really what drove this, because if those government bonds go tits up, then the government is spending more and more on interest out of the government budget. This is something the Tories did under Liz Truss. They screwed our bond market, and as a result, the government is now spending over £125 billion a year of your money and my money on interest repayments. Now, I don't have a problem with being in debt. Obviously, I am in debt. But like, the idea is that you want a couch, but the couch is £3,000. And so you get the couch and you get all the joy and pleasure of having a couch, especially if you're a JD Vance. You get lots of pleasure from having a couch. But you pay for it in installments, right? And you pay interest on that. You get yourself a house, and houses now are like £200,000 or something fucking mad. You don't have that money. You borrow that money. And you pay it back over time. And as long as you can make those repayments, it's a good way of doing it. Although banned by the Bible, and no Christians should do it, but we do. It's a Christian nation. Oh, okay, you got to ban usury. No, not like that. But yeah, this is essentially where it comes down to. He didn't give a stuff about the stock market. They can manipulate the stock market as much as they like, obviously, because that's legal now in America. And enrich himself and his mates, and his stupid goons will go, yeah, he's paid 4D chess. You got a real pretty mouth. But yeah, the rest of us, we will sort of going, oh God, these stocks are going down. They're going down all over the world. But what the big problem was, the stocks were going down all over the world. So he's laughing, making everyone poorer. But at the same time, the government bond market was going down, and that's where the bond yields had spiked, which is a massive red flag, which means the cost of borrowing skyrocketed for the US government, and therefore homeowners and government on top of that. This is very much like Liz Truss's mini budget disaster, which I'll come to in a moment. Let's talk Truss. In God we trust. Dickhead. In Trump we trust. What do you think? Okay, Alistair, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. My friend Reagan Elite had a video of a woman that got product from China on its way, and she said it will finish her business. It's trebled the cost. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing of Mr. Beast waded in yesterday, pointing out that he gets chocolate bars. He makes these chocolate bars called, I don't know, influencer chocolate bars or something. And he sells them in the States. But, cocoa, they don't have any in America. It only grows in certain tropical climates. That's why most of our cacao in the UK and then Europe comes from somewhere like Cote d'Ivoire, it's somewhere equatorial, because that's the only environment in which those chocolate trees can grow. Chocolate trees are very, very, particular about how they do things. They have to be in the shade. They can't be out in the open like palm trees can. They need to be shaded by bigger trees, and also they need to be somewhere where there is a lot of heat, ambient heat, and there's a lot of rain, i.e. the equator. So we get a lot of chocolate from the equator. We get a lot of chocolate from places like Colombia and even Panama and Costa Rica and stuff. And we get a lot from West African countries like Cote d'Ivoire. You can't grow it in America. You simply can't grow it. So if they're putting these massive tariffs, 57% tariffs or whatever it was, on these cocoa beans coming into America, then Mr. Beast's chocolate is going to have to go up in price for American consumers. An American product, but using bits and pieces from other places in the world, which most things are now, because that's supply chains for you. We can't grow olives in this country. There's no point in putting tariffs on olives. There's no point. It's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense to put tariffs on olives in the UK because we don't grow tariffs. You put tariffs on commodities to save your domestic production of that particular commodity. You don't put them blanket on a country. That's called sanctions. That's not a tariff. It's a sanction. It's something that you do when a country is very naughty, like Russia. But obviously, Trump's not going to do that to Russia because Russia is running America right now. And these Trump supporters are like, USA, USA. I'm like, yeah, you can't spell Russia without US and A, can you? Just saying. Alistair, thank you very much for that super chat. Also, we have Suzanne Casey, thank you very much for the £1. And we've got Alistair again. The new name for tariffs is the Trump tax, Graham. Yeah, absolutely, Trump tax, because it's the Americans who pay. I mean, yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? You've got sanctions. You're putting sanctions on these countries, right? Usually, the sanctions are paid by the country who are receiving the goods. And yet here we are. That's just fucking mad, isn't it? What a way to run the world. 4G chess is what they play in Star Trek, and it's what Trump supporters say he's so clever that he negotiates. He's playing that lol. The thing is with 4D chess, it's not, is it? It's 3D chess, but all chess is 3D. It's just that the board is flat, whereas it's got another dimension because it goes up on different layers when you're playing 4D chess. But what's the fourth dimension? Space-time? Come on. It's 3D. It's 3D chess. It's 3.5D chess. That's what it should be called in Star Trek. 3.5D. It's got sort of an extra dimension because you can go vertically. Kind of, but it's not quite vertical. You can see the show. They don't kind of overlap. They go up in like steps. Anyway, but obviously, Khan didn't know how to play 4D chess. So there you go. Trump was even mistaken about the definition of groceries. He said they were a bag with food items in it, but the food items themselves are groceries, whether they're in a bag or what. Yes, Futum shook. He's such a fucking idiot. I mean, like, he's so stupid. He's running the free world. Oh my God. What a time to be alive! If you want an explanation of how treasuries really work, read Stephanie Keaton's book, The Deficit Myth. Apparently, Trump and Scott Bessent had a row over this in the Oval Office, and Trump backed down when Bessent threatened to resign. Ooh, that's interesting. It's 3D chess they play in Star Trek. Yeah, I know. But all chess is 3D. Unless you're playing it on a screen. Anyway, Suzanne, thank you very much. We should discuss the Pussy Riot visiting America. Thank you very much for the $2. We discussed. I didn't know. They'll probably get arrested. They'll probably get arrested by the land of the free. The land of the free to not have opinions about the president. The land of the free to have your social media looked at when you enter the country, which is happening to a lot of people now entering America. Now, I should tell you this has been going on for a long time. When I was in America, tried to get into America in 2016, they wanted to see in my phone. They wanted me to unlock my phone and show them things that I'd put on social media to check whether I had put like derogatory things about Donald Trump on there, which I had, but he wasn't president at that time. So I don't know if that made them ban me from America for life. I kind of think that it probably did. Well, at least ban me from getting an ESTA for the rest of my life. But yeah, they weren't too impressed with the things I called Donald Trump, who at that time was the president-elect back in December 2016. Jesus Christ, I don't know how we lived through that, but we're doing it again. Oh, it wasn't bad enough. Let's do it again. I can't believe Trump folded to the Penguins. He's got to be the weakest man alive. He did fold to the Penguins. He absolutely did. Robolara said, I wouldn't have minded being accidentally included in Donald's surrogate investors WhatsApp group yesterday afternoon. There will be zero repercussions in America. They are completely lost to us, says Nick and Diff. Yeah. Honestly, I'm getting a bit sick of people who are like, don't worry, darling. the Constitution will come and save us all. And I'm like, okay. And being like really patronizing and condescending about people being panicky. Just don't be panicky, it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure the courts will come and save the day. Yeah. The Supreme Court. The incredibly corrupt Supreme Court. Don't worry, we'll put our faith in the Supreme Court. They'll do what's right. Anyway, so yeah, comparison to Liz Truss's mini budget disaster. Market panic forced the policy renewal, but more than that, it was based on our government bonds, our government bond yields went through the fucking roof as a result of Liz Truss's policies. And that was what did it for her in the end. And this is what these disaster capitalists don't seem to be able to get through their thick skulls. And it once again, just like Brexit was a trial run for Donald Trump getting elected the first time, Liz Truss's mini budget was a trial run for what Trump is doing now on just a grander scale, not just tanking the markets in the US, but also tanking markets all over the world, because obviously America is a lot more powerful than the UK. Thank you very much to Paula Thomas for the £10 super chat. It's very kind of you, Paula. Thank you. Government debt started as a way of not taxing the rich. It is in Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations. Well, the rich don't like to be taxed, do they? All these millionaires have left the UK because of non-don status has been taken away. Okay, bye. I would take their fucking passports off them. I mean, if they're non-dom, they don't have a British passport anyway. No great loss. But if they are British citizens, right, and they don't want to live here anymore, go, okay, you have 3 years to get citizenship in the country that you're in. You should be able to do that pretty quick because you're rich, okay? And then we are revoking your UK passport. We can't leave you stateless because that would be against international law. But when things go wrong and you go to the British Embassy and say, help, things have gone wrong. The British Embassy, that British taxpayers pay a shitload of money to have, the high commissions and the embassies and the consuls around the world that we pay millions and millions and millions of pounds for every year. Yeah, no, fuck that. No, seriously, you're not getting that. You don't get that protection anymore. Enjoy your life in Dubai. I hope your little project, I hope your little business doesn't go bankrupt, because going bankrupt in Dubai is against the law. So, if you go bankrupt, right, you'll go to jail. And when you get out of jail, you'll still owe the fucking money. So enjoy your life and enjoy your new life in Dubai. I'd tear up their roads in your fucking Chelsea tractors. I don't give a fuck. But you can't be British anymore. You've revoked that. You become an immigrant. You become the thing that you hate the most. You goddamn disgusting, ugly, meffed up, broken, disgusted, black-hearted, stretched-faced billionaire scum. Just get out of my country. Get out of my country. Take your horrible little crotch spawn, your room goblins, your sex trophies. You get them out of the country as well. Don't want them going to our schools. Don't want them clogging up our elite private schools with their filth. Get out. Get all of them. Rich bastards. Although, private schools in general, I would rather we did away with. I'll come back to that in a moment. But yes, we're back to Trump. The Trump responds to power, not principle. That is the real lesson here. He's the Wall Street and bond traders, they yell louder than the working class ever could. And yeah, the hedge funds unwound these basis trades, and it just led to this bond carnage where the yields, as they call them, the interest that the government is offering on government bonds just goes through the absolute roof because people are selling their bonds left, right, and centre. They don't want to be part of a government that could go bankrupt in the future. And this is something that Trump never understands, because Trump's always got away with everything in his life. And he's just gone from one thing to another, just being a horrible American orange piece of shit, which he is. And he doesn't understand the concept of the breaking of trust and how important that is for most of us. He can just continue on, leave human wreckage behind him. He can cheat on his wives. He can fuck over contractors and other businesses and other business people. He can destroy people's lives and then continue on. There's millions of more people out there for him to ruin the lives of. Whereas for the rest of us, with our sort of smaller groups of people that we know, people that are prepared to hang out with us, so to speak, we couldn't do that, because we would have to live with the consequences of that breach of trust, which can last a lifetime. Marriages, sometimes when one partner has an affair and they decide to stay together, yeah, that's nice that they decide to stay together, but there's been a breach of trust in that relationship. And to be honest, I don't know if those ever heal over. But Trump doesn't care about that. What happened yesterday doesn't matter. What he said yesterday doesn't matter. The guy is a narcissistic psychopath. He'll just continue going forward like a fucking shark. You know, he is a big fat orange shark in this respect. And he's never had to take the consequences of his actions in the same way that the rest of us would do. If we broke the law, we would go to jail. He doesn't. He never has. He never will. He'll never go to jail. You know, the hopes that one of the richest men in America, one of the most powerful men in America, could possibly go to jail. It was for the birds. Why I was saying a year ago today why Trump might well win this election is because all the billionaires were backing him. Simple as that. All the billionaires wanted to make even more money because they're not happy with their lives. That makes me feel happier with my life, I've got to say. Like the fact that I've got the stuff that I've got, and that makes me happy, and I'm prepared to, go for a walk with my family and see my friends and just sit around and have a drink, whatever. Just that'll do. That'll fucking do. Whereas these billionaires, they're sitting there in a disgusting shipping container on the side of a mountain with one wall that's a glass curtain for some reason, so everyone can see in because they want to live in a zoo exhibit. I don't know what the fuck is with these grand design fucking millionaire dickheads. Got no taste whatsoever. Anyway, they're living in their shipping container, sitting in their fucking infinity pool or whatever, and they're just not happy. They've got all this money and they're not happy. They have to have more money, or they have to have a go at trans people, or they have to just be horrible, horrible people. I think once you hit a million, then your soul starts to shrivel a little bit. Once you hit a billion, it's gone. It's gone. It's just gone. Fucking vampires. That's what they are. Fucking vampires. I fucking hate the mega rich. I hate the rich. They're fucking tight. Every rich person you'll ever meet is tight as a fucking duck's arse. Like, they are real, aren't they? I mean, tell me some anecdotes. Tell me in the chat about someone you know who's got a bit of money. Don't name names necessarily, but just how fucking tight they are. People who just getting the restaurant bill at the end of the night. Well, I only had a salad for starters, so I should pay £2 less. It's like, you're worth 78 million fucking pounds, you twat. But never mind. Yes. So where were we? Hang on. I've got something else to talk about. I'm going to make a note in case I forget. Kate says, because they're worth it. Short list of types of bird that inhabit the herd in McDonald Islands. Thanks very much for that, One Angry Pagan. And we've also got Ishtar there. Those in his inner circle have got to be making a fortune buying the dips and selling the highs at this roller coaster market. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They are making so much money. Gallifreyan Rent, speaking of the war on trans, I hear Streeting's been defending his decisions as clinician advice. Yeah. Turfy advice that he's got from transphobes. The fact that he's gay really fucks me off. Not that I don't have a problem people being gay, I mean, the fact that he is gay and he's doing this is just a disgrace. I feel like it's a betrayal of the community. Absolutely, 100%. Because the first they'll go for trans people, and then they go for gay people, as you're seeing with states around America trying to wind back the law on gay marriage. They're trying to annul people's marriages. It's going to ruin lives. Marriage isn't just a tax thing. Obviously, it is a tax thing, and that's why most people get married, I believe, because I don't know. But it's also that you're allowed to adopt, and then they're going to stop gay couples adopting children. So what about the gay couples who have already adopted a child, and they're living with the kid, and they've been living with the kid for 10, 15 years, and then suddenly the government come along and go, no, we're going to have to take this child, this teenager, we're going to have to take them off you, even though you're the only home they've ever known. You're the only loving family they've ever known. We're going to put them in care instead, because we can't have gay people raising children now, can we? Because, their deviant lifestyle. It's a choice. It's a choice. Yeah. Nicky and Diff says, yeah, rich manager in old workplace always bought the Asda bargains and filled up the office fridge. Heaven forbid someone who was struggling bought them, hated him for that. Yeah, Nick and Diff, they're all like that. They're all going on about the fucking bargains. They've got to get the bargains all down in TK. Was it Prince Harry, wasn't it, saying he loves going to TK Maxx? Was it that Prince Harry? The richest person in the fucking country. And he's like, yeah, I go to the bargain basements. And you're right, they're stealing the bargains for everybody else. They can afford to pay full whack for this shit. But they don't, of course. In fact, they probably don't even go into TK Maxx themselves. They send one of their servants in, one of their butlers. One of their butt plugs. Sarah says he's aligning himself with the bully, so they leave him alone. I think this Liz says, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene got caught insider trading just now. Yeah, I should get away with it though. I mean, Trump will forgive it. Wes is just throwing others under the bus. I hope he'll be left alone. In the hope he'll be left alone. How ignorant of history. Yeah. But the thing is, right? This is the thing about transphobes. They're in a minority, right? They're in an absolute vanishing minority. They're just very loud. They don't speak for women. They don't speak for anyone that I know, anyone that I hang out with, anyone who I want to be associated with. They don't speak for any of us. Anyone you see on this channel is not a transphobe. If they were a transphobe, they wouldn't be on this fucking channel. Simple as that. And the fact that so many people believe the anti-trans movement to be bigger than it actually is because it's amplified by the likes of J.K. Rowling, who is obsessed. She does the work of 1,000 turfs because she has such a reach and she has such poison to spread. It's not great. Anyway, okay, so who won this battle? Angels versus demons in Trump's brain. This is Ted Cruz's analogy. The demons were Peter Navarro and the MAGA tariff hawks, and the angels, Elon Musk, corporate America, and global finance. And the angels won this round. For now, angels in inverted commas. But expect negotiations with Japan, South Korea, Australia. But Trump might slap the tariffs back on in 90 days if he still feels cornered. God, if he's still alive in 90 days, he might not be. Hope springs eternal. And China's been excluded from this pause, and the 104% tariffs are still in place. They're going to go up to 154, I think. And China says we don't create trouble. We don't create trouble, but we don't fear it. And you've got to understand, like, before Russia invaded Ukraine proper, it did invade Ukraine in 2014, but before it launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Before it did that, it had shored up its economy in such a way that it could survive having sanctions placed on it, because they had learned from the past that if they do this, the likely reaction from the international community will be sanctions, right? And so they did it anyway, knowing that would happen, but they had made deals with China, they made deals with India, so they made sure that they were still selling their raw materials, they could still get stuff in and out, the economy would be okay, I guess, the ruble would be okay, it wouldn't completely sink into nothingness, and you wouldn't get hyperinflation and things like that. And they put all these backdoor deals in place, ready for when they invaded, so when the inevitable sanctions came along, it wouldn't destroy the economy of Russia. And the Russian economy, it's not doing great, but I mean, it never was. They have a GDP per capita on a par with, like, I don't know, fucking Nicaragua or something. I mean, that it's not a rich country. It's not a powerful country. It's got no nukes. They've all rusted to death. They've all fallen apart. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're all from like the 1960s. They don't work anymore. That this is a country that is using tanks from World War II to fight its fucking war because it's got none. It's got fuck all. But they had shored themselves up. Same with China with these tariffs. So Trump put the original tariffs on in his first term of office, and China went, "Oh, okay, all right." And then they realized if Trump ever gets re-elected, those tariffs are likely to go up. So they tariff-proofed their economy. They started making sure that they had. I mean, they've been doing this for a lot longer than this. They've been doing diversifying out to countries in Africa and in Asia for a very long time, but they stepped that up. So, for instance, they set up factories in Taiwan and in Cambodia and in Vietnam in order to make things for the American market that will be avoiding these massive tariffs that are on China, and they will continue to do that. At the same time, they made sure that they made inroads into African countries so they could extract raw materials from those countries and bring them back to China and make the things that the Chinese need to make. They'd also, made trade easier with other countries away from America, sort of pivoting away from America just in case. Not pivoting away necessarily, but diversifying, so making sure they've got lots of revenue streams from around the world. They're not too reliant on Americans buying their goods. But still, I mean, China is America's biggest trading partner by a mile. Still, that that's not changed. But yeah, what's going to change now is Americans are going to buy less Chinese stuff. But here's the thing, like a lot of stuff that America needs comes from China. And like I gave the example of Mr. Beast and his chocolate bars having to get the cocoa beans from somewhere that grows cocoa beans. He can't grow them in America. And so that his company has to pay these tariffs and make the chocolate bars even more expensive. So it's cheaper for him, for the international market, to not bring those cocoa beans into America because he's got to pay 10% at least extra on those cocoa beans coming into America. So fuck that shit. Get them made in Mexico. Get the same chocolate made in Mexico, set up a factory, build a factory in Mexico or Canada, and you don't have to pay those tariffs. Ted Cruz's head is a very confused place, says Anne Phillips. Yes, it is. Ted Cruz is a fucking scumbag. He is pure scumbaggery. The man is a terrible, terrible person. Yeah. It seems to be terrible people as far as the eye can see. We only need one more super chat to reach today's target. That's pretty good. I think we reached it just a bit earlier than normal. But just so you know, I'll have to start making things like, if I get 10 super chats, I'm going to do a dance. I don't want to do that though, because it'll turn into a bit of I don't know. What was that guy who went for a dance around the world and he kept on doing the video clips of him dancing? Where the hell is Matt? Was it Matt? Oh, I can't remember. Section 4. This isn't over. Okay, so April the 20th, we're talking about the D-Day for democracy, as I mentioned in the show yesterday. This is the when Trump's advisory group is due to report on invoking the Insurrection Act, and there's fears of martial law, domestic military deployment, and purging of opposition happening there. Leaks from the Project 2025, well, actually the fucking published manifesto of the 900-page manifesto of Project 2025 reveal their long-term goal is to dismantle democracy and replace it with technocratic authoritarian control, something that we talked about before, the rise of the technocrats in the 1930s along with the Nazis. So is this retreat part of the plan? That's a question we need to ask. Is this a pause before the power grab? Is this a way to pacify the market before dropping the hammer? I mean, his strategy is to create chaos with tariffs and protests. That gives him an excuse to declare an emergency and use the Insurrection Act. He's branded protesters as seditionists in the past. I'm sure he will do that again. And this will give him the excuse to suspend elections. That's the worry. Ooh, there you go. Thank you very much to Suzanne Casey for the $2. Spandy Al Andy dance. Thank you. We made our target. Woo, woo, woo. Yay. So what did I say I'll do? I said I'll say thank you. Hey, we achieved the goal. Maybe I'll just do 5 super chats before the end of the show. Let's say I'll say should I say I'll drop the bomb? I'll drop da bomb. You see, it's written da because that means that it's good. If it's the bomb, it's a nuclear weapon and that's bad. But if it's da bomb, it's okay. It's like the difference between something being shit, which means it's not very good, or the shit. That means it's great. So yeah, I'll drop that bomb. Goal achieved. Well done, folks. Well done, everyone. Big round of applause. Love it. Thank you. You keep this channel on the air until YouTube has its plug pulled on it for being too woke or something, for allowing lefty woke bastards like me to make content, because I am woke as fuck. So anyway, impact on the UK. The FTSE fell 100. The FTSE 100 fell 2.5% on Wednesday's open. It's now 2% down overall. The UK banks are exposed to global trade. HSBC, Standard Chartered, etc. have been hammered, whereas banks like Lloyds have not been hammered so much because they can sort of get away with it a little bit more. But the FT 100 has jumped today. Global markets have rebounded, and so we're seeing the winners and losers on the FTSE this morning. Some firms have had better morning than others. Some have had a pretty bad morning. Biggest winner is Barclays, which leapt 30% on opening this morning, though has settled down now to 14% since about 15 minutes ago. JD Sports and Rolls-Royce were up 10% and 11% as well. Despite bumps elsewhere, it's a bad day for UK supermarkets. In its result this morning, Tesco referenced a price war between them. Its shares fell 6%, while its rival Sainsbury's fell 4.8%, and Marks & Spencer's fell 2.6%. Usually I'm not interested in what's happening in these markets because it's just crypto for old people. Stock markets, I don't really have a share portfolio. I don't have a pension that's linked to the shares, so I don't really care, but most of the time. But at the moment, it's kind of relevant to everything else that is going on now. There's countries that are on the worst offenders list, that were on the worst offenders list, and that they're all now getting 10%, which is something I should really mention. We're getting the same rates as the EU now. So all those Brexiters who are like, yeah, we're getting the same. There's a Brexit bonus. We're only getting taxed 10%. Well, the others are getting taxed 20%. I was like, well, actually, the knock on the British economy of that 10% is absolutely minimal. Whereas the knock of us leaving the EU is absolutely massive, like 10 times worse. 10 times worse leaving the EU. So what? Yes, someone mugged me, and they stole a £10 note, but I found a quid on the floor, so it's all right. Yes. The former trade representative under Barack Obama's administration, this guy called Jeff Moon, has said the laws of economics will stop Trump achieving what he is promising will come after tariffs. Even if someone wants to move a factory back to the US, it takes years, which is something that everyone said. Like, it takes years to build a factory. You want to start making fucking iPhones in the US, it's going to take 10 years. 10 fucking years. Because it's not just building a building, all right? You if it was just putting up a warehouse, you could build a warehouse in a couple of months, probably faster if you're really putting your mind to it. But you're not. You're building the machinery. You're building the stuff to make the stuff. But also, you need to train people to make the things. So training, this stuff takes years. And then you need to make the supply chains work. So you've got to source all your raw materials some places. You've got to fabricate all the pieces that you need in different places and buy those fabricated parts. You need to decide where your supply chains are going to come from. You've got to work through all the logistics. It's really fucking complicated. Some car manufacturers will see their production lines, certain production lines, go offline for like a year, and that's just to update the model design of a car to the next year's model. But that's how long it takes to recalibrate all the machines that are already there. We're not talking about building from scratch here. Building from scratch takes so long. And it's like when we were talking about yesterday, we were talking about the fact that Universal Studios are going to be opening in Bedfordshire. Brilliant. But it's going to take 6 years. And I'm like, yeah, because that's how long it takes to build stuff. I think because we've grown up with this kind of instant gratification of like, we think of something and we go, right, I want this thing. And we go on Amazon and then 2 hours later it arrives at the door. We're not used to the fact that, no, if you're actually going to do things in the real world, it's not sort of virtual coming from a big bloody warehouse down the road. It takes a long time. I grew up in an era of please allow 28 days for delivery on anything that was sent through the post. 28 days? You had to wait a month to get the thing. This is why high street stores did really well. Because everyone was like, I'm not waiting a month to get this thing that I need. But now it can come next day or same day. I mean, fuck it. Do it. Not great, though, for the poor bastards on the high street. But, as someone who's not a big consumer, I feel like I don't mind the fact that the high streets are changing. And yes, more entertainment venues, more places for live music, more cafes, more pubs, more places to sit out where there's no cars, where you don't have to worry about bloody traffic going past. Sitting outside a cafe when it's on a road, it's on a busy street, there's cars going past, some dickhead goes past in some souped up fucking Ford Fiesta with a massive fucking exhaust pipe making loads of noise. Broom, broom, broom! Look at me, everyone! I'm a very special boy! Oh, and you're just trying to have a chat with your mates, enjoy a coffee. You might be on a date, trying to impress someone. Top tip for dating for me, and this goes for dating. It also goes for going for job interviews. And you know what? I don't really have extensive sort of experience of either, but I've usually done quite well. And it's stay positive. Just literally say nothing negative at all. Say nothing negative in your interview. Say nothing negative when you're on a date. Just keep everything positive. Don't sit there and tell the other person all the things you hate, because that might work in a Franz Ferdinand song, but at the same time, it's dispiriting. It really is. It's why I really get me back up. And I know I shouldn't, but I can't stand it when people put posts up on social media telling me, A, they don't care about something. And I'm just like, you're literally writing about it. How do you not care about this thing that you obviously care enough about that you're telling people you don't care about it? It's a fucking oxymoron. If you don't write you don't care about something, I assume you don't care about it, But if you write that you don't care about it, I'm thinking, well, obviously you do. Clearly. And the other thing is people who are proud of not doing something or seeing something. And I find it really condescending when people go, I've never seen Star Wars. What? Do you think you're fucking superior because you haven't watched a movie that everyone else got some enjoyment out of it? I would rather someone said, I saw Star Wars and I didn't like it. And here's the reason I didn't like it. Fair enough. That's fine. We can have a discussion about that. We can have a laugh. We go, well, I didn't like that bit either. But to say, well, I've never done this. I've never done that. This is a boring conversation. Anyway, just stay positive. Just stay positive. And I'm going to stay positive now because Super Tiny has dropped £1 in the Super Chat fund. Thank you, Super Tiny. Every little helps. But yes, I wanted to talk a little bit. Oh, hang on. I'm still on Trump. Do we have to talk about Trump? I've got someone talking in my ear. I've got to finish off what I was saying about Trump. I don't want to. I've got ADHD. Can't I just go off on something else? Okay, no, all right. Well, we'll finish off. Right, what can the UK do? So, UK banks are exposed to global trade, as we've seen, HSBC and Standard Chartered, etc. The UK economy is threatened by US-led trade war and inflation shockwaves. And what can we do? What can we do as Brits, as British viewers? I don't know. It's people here, obviously, watching from other countries as well. What can you do? Support anti-authoritarian, pro-democracy journalism and campaigns. Social media people. I've said this before. Please, even if it's not a case of dropping in a super chat, just watching this stuff really, really helps. And then we've got to pressure MPs. We've got to pressure MPs to oppose alignment with Trumpism. No to trade deals that undermine rights or environmental standards. We've got to vote tactically as well. And far-right movements here, like Farage, which I really should talk about. I don't want to because I fucking hate him, but they're taking cues from MAGA chaos. So Nigel Farage has been in Port Talbot in Wales, saying that we should nationalise British steel. So when the government inevitably nationalise British steel, he'll be like, "Oh, I did that." He's doing the blue collar millionaire bullshit that Trump did, going down the same route. He's using racism and xenophobia to get the working class on side for his millionaire tax cuts, which is all he really cares about, and his fascism that he wants, fascism light over here. Farage's fascism. I mean, his name almost sounds like fascism because he is a fucking fascist. He's a Nazi shit piece of work. He's a man who has constantly praised Vladimir Putin. He is a man who has done some really horrible, disgusting things in his life. He's a man for whom the Brexit bonuses, which there aren't any, but you know what? They don't affect him, do they? They don't affect him. His kids have got German passports. They can still go and live and work and retire in any of the countries of the EU, no questions asked. We can't. He still can because he's got loads of money. He can live anywhere in the world. We can't. He took that right away from us, and he took that right away from all working class people who may be minded to vote for him. If you're not a millionaire or a fascist, there is literally no reason to vote for refuck. but he's taken a page out of the Trump playbook and gone, oh, we need to get the working class on side. And don't forget, that's what Brexit was. It was an unholy alliance between working class people and upper class people. The upper class told the working class and lower middle class that all their dreams will come true if only they leave the EU. That rhymes, but it wasn't true. That rhymes as well. Ian2, thank you very much to Ian2. That also rhymes. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I live on the A23. It's like having electric fence right outside your front door. Yeah, mate. I mean, honestly, sounds pollution is something that we really should be talking about, because it's not going to go away necessarily with electric cars, although electric cars are a lot quieter. They still make a hell of a racket when going along a motorway nearby. So it will be good. It will be good for us to sort that shit out. Anyway, stay informed, stay loud, stay defiant. Trump built a tariff wall and then he ran straight into it like Wile E. Coyote. It wasn't the stock market that beat him. It was the bond vigilantes, and he doesn't stand firm. He folds faster than a netto picnic chair. Umka has just dropped 10 euros. Oh, we love euros on this channel. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm late for this show, but not for the donation to a cup of coffee. Interesting fact, when the USA was the richest for the average Joe, taxes on the rich were up to 91%. We need to tax the rich more. Yes. But, Umka, we need to do it in a smart way. It needs to be multilateral. It can't be one country putting loads of tax on the rich because the rich will leave and go somewhere else. We need punitive measures in place with other countries. So if these motherfuckers go to Monaco or go to the Cayman Islands or try and run away, we say, okay, but we're going to take everything that you own in this country. And if you go and live somewhere else and you don't live here anymore, you have 3, 4, 5 years, and then you have to give up your British passport. Unless you want to keep paying tax in this country. That's fine. If you want to live in another country for 20 years, but you continue to pay tax in this country, like you do if you're American. If you are American and you live anywhere else in the world, you still have to file with the IRS every year, and you have to pay taxes on earnings. On some of the, not all of them, obviously, but on some of those earnings, you will have to pay tax in America. We should adopt the same system. Absolutely, 100%. I pay tax in this country when I was working in other countries or living in other countries. I don't see why anyone else shouldn't do that. I feel like this is the country that I grew up in, the country that paid for my health all my life. It's paid for my education. It's paid for everything. It's paid for my streets. And I didn't build the fucking sewers. I flushed my shit down. Someone else did. Someone else paid for that. It's only fair that I contribute. And these millionaires are like, no one gave me nothing. No one gave me anything. They went to a fucking private school. Someone gave you a very fucking expensive education, mate. Someone opened a fucking load of golden doors for you. But whatever. So what does China do next? I don't know. China's put up their tariffs against the US at 84%, I think. And America's talking about putting them up. So proper trade war going on with China. And like the tariffs put on everybody else, Trump blinked first. I think with China, Trump is going to blink first again. Because so many American products and goods are based on this supply chain for some of the raw materials, some of the components coming from China. What you going to do? What you gonna do? So yeah, it is so. I mean, imagine being so stupid that you bring on this tariff war that everyone's going, you can't win, and then after a week going, oh yeah, you're right, you couldn't win. What are the chances? Anyway, so I just wanted to talk for a moment about CMS, the Culture, Media and Sport. There was a report out today saying that we should put a tax on streaming. Right, we're going to put a tax on streaming. And what we're going to do with that tax money is we're going to invest in British dramas. Okay. No. Put a tax on streaming, fine. What that's going to do is going to push up the cost of our streaming services. So instead of paying £7 a month, you'll be paying £8, £9, £10 a month, right? Because obviously the streamers are going to pass that cost onto the consumer. And if that money was going towards wages or some version of universal basic income for our artists, for our actors, for our directors and writers, content producers. Yeah, all for it. Absolutely. Put that pound on those services, put that small tax on them, and we can use that money so that everyone who is involved in the arts in the UK gets 500 quid a week. And they can continue going to auditions, they continue writing, they can continue making content without the constant fear and worry of the fact that they don't have anything in the way of a pension fund, they have no health leave, they have no sick leave, they have no hospital holiday, paternity, maternity leave. If they don't do their shows every day, like me on here, if I don't do shows every day, I get no money. Like I can chart it. I can show you my chart for because last Saturday I didn't do a show, right? And it's like this, like my income is like this, and then Saturday, zero. It literally goes to zero because I don't work that day. I should get up in the morning on a Saturday and make a Saturday brew, make a wide awake club or something, just to get a little bit of money in, because otherwise it goes to zero. I've got to make content every single day. And so if the money was going towards that, I'd be like, yeah, let's go for it. But no, they want to put money into dramas, right? Why? I thought, that sounds a bit mad. That sounds, I don't really understand the thinking behind that. And then, friends, I realised who the head of the Culture, Media and Sport Committee is. And it's a woman called, she's a Tory MP called Caroline, she's the chair, sorry, she's the head of the Department of Culture, Media and Sport is Lisa Nandy. But the chair of the Culture and Media and Sport Committee is Dame Caroline Dinenage, MP. The daughter of the TV presenter, Fred Dinenage, you remember him? Yeah, it's his daughter. And Caroline Dinenage MP went to the incredibly eye-wateringly expensive private school because, of course, Wickham House School. It's a private day school. Let's just type in Wickham House School into the internet. Let's put cost in there. How much does it cost to go to Wickham High School? Oh, it actually closed. It closed in 2015 due to financial pressures and falling pupil numbers. Oh dear, how sad. Never mind. But before it did close down, it was charging fees of up to £4,100 per term. So 3 terms a year, that's over £12,000. Could you afford to spend £12,000 on your kids' education per year? If you could, you're doing really fucking well, because most of us couldn't afford that. So she's sitting there as chair of Culture, Media and Sport, three places that the private school mafia absolutely dominate. They rule with an iron fist, where only 8% of people working in TV and media are from working class backgrounds. And she's like, we need to tax these streamers. And I'm like, yeah, tax them till the pips squeak. But at the same time, she's like, yeah, and we'll use that money to fund dramas. I'm like, no. You're not using that fucking money to give to your private school mates to make films about what they think working class people live like. No, give it to the working class people to make films, okay? Give it to them to work as actors. Give it to them to work as singers, musicians. Give it to them. Universal basic income for creatives. Let's do a scheme. Run it for a couple of years. Do it. And the flowers that will grow, I swear to you right now, the flowers that will grow from that will be resounding and will echo through the decades, if not the centuries. We could be sitting on the next William fucking Shakespeare, but we would never know. We would never know because they're living in a council estate and they're working every hour God sends just to keep their head above water. We could be sitting on the next George Lucas, the next Steven Spielberg. We'll never know. We could be sitting on the next Jane Austen. We'll never know. Because we're only allowing people who are already rich, who have rich mummies and daddies, who have contacts in the industry to publish books these days. So yeah, fuck off, Caroline Dinenage. I don't want the money to be spent on that. I want the money to be spent on us, on creatives, I'm not young, so don't give it to me necessarily, but yeah, young creatives. Get them into the industry. Make the industry work by giving people the money. I mean, I don't agree with former Tory MPs much in my life, but I find myself agreeing with Rory Stewart when he says, just give them the money. When he's talking about charity overseas, he says, just give them the money. Just give them the fucking money. You get money in a charity, right? Don't spend it all on marketing. Don't give it all to the fucking CEO. Don't spend it building a fucking hospital with like running costs of millions of pounds a year that you're still going to have to pay for year on year. No, just give the people who live there the fucking money so they can do it themselves. Simple as that. You know, like I say, nothing's simple in life, but some things are simpler than others. So building a fucking hospital that's going to cost you millions of pounds a year to run in Juba is not going to be the same. It's not going to achieve the same aims and goals as just giving people in Juba who are starting businesses and want to do things in Juba, give them the money to do it. Give them the support. What do people need for support? They need money. That's it. They don't need training fucking videos. They don't need, outward bounds courses. They don't need motivational speakers. They need money. And this is what people with money don't understand. Because they're like, we'll get a consultant in. We'll get a consultant in to turn up. The consultant turns up and says, what you need to do is sack a load of people and charge more for your products. Oh, fucking hell. Thank you very much, consultant. That'll be £100,000, please. Oh, there you go. Very, very frustrating. Anyway, I missed a super chat from Gareth T. Morning, Graham. It's sunny in Darwin. Off to Wales. See you later. Have a nice day. Thank you very much, Gareth. That's very kind of you. £5 super chat. And having a great day in Wales. It is sunny today. I might go out to the garden after this. Big Marvinsky says private school mafia. Yeah, they're going to put a tax to give to their mates who are already making movies, already making TV. 92% of whom are middle class or upper class. Waited for super chat 4 so I could be 5, says Paul Ewan. Yeah, crafty bugger. Right, what did I say I was going to do? I was going to drop the bomb. There you go, just drop the bomb. Thank you very much for Paul Ewan there. Peter Thiel, another Trump billionaire backer and one who got Vance elected to VP, also grew up rich in apartheid South Africa, by the way. Yeah, Ishtar, there's a lot of connections with apartheid South Africa in the American administration at the moment, and they want to go back. They want to go back to the good old days when they could keep black people down, which is what they want to do more than anything. I'd love to be working back in theatre again. I really miss it, said Purity Vendetta. Yeah, I want you to be working in the theatre. You've got the talent, you've got the skill, you've got the drive to want to put things on, to entertain people. That drive should not be suppressed by economic factors, but it is in this country. And this is why we just produce the same fucking film over and over and over again. I am sick and tired of us making fucking period dramas and romantic comedies that all had the same fucking plot over and over and over again. A rich person wants something and is having trouble getting it. Cool. I want to watch that film again for the 900th fucking time. I realised this when I watched Bridget Jones's. I'm going to have to raise my chair, hang on. When I watched Bridget Jones's, what's it called? Bridget Jones's Funeral or something. The latest Bridget Jones film to come out, Mad About the Boy. And you know what? It's an okay film. It's fine. It has its highs and its lows. It's a bit mishmash, but it's okay. It's an okay film. But everyone in it is so fucking posh. Like, it is just like the wet dream of all these private school kids who like go, I'm going to make a film about what it's like to be very posh in London. She lives in this amazing house in London, like, and she doesn't work, she doesn't do anything. She's struggling being a full-time mom, and she doesn't have to work. Like, she hasn't got a job, but she's living in this fucking mansion in London, like we all are, And I'm just like, this is so really not relatable. It's not relatable because, she's not struggling with the problems that we have in life, the rest of us who weren't born fabulously rich. No, she's struggling with social faux pas. And that's all the films we make. Oh my God, I done a social faux pas. And they all go like that. Notting fucking Hill, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, even fucking Love Actually. Who's the working class character in Love Actually? Is it the maid? The maid that the Prime Minister falls in love with? Is she the working class? Well, I don't know. I've seen her house. She seems to be, pretty well off for someone. They no idea. And, I'm not knocking Richard Curtis. I think they're good movies. But at the same time, Richard Curtis is part of the private school mafia. Everyone in those movies is part of the private fucking school mafia. And it's all they know. They don't know anyone from any other walk of life. And so why are they going to tell stories that make sense about people from other walks of life? And so whenever we get a film about working class people in this country, it's always miserable and depressing. It's never full of joy. It's never fucking just people having a good fucking laugh. It's always like, oh God, it's got the domestic violence, and there's gonna be, oh my God, I can't pay the bills. I'm gonna sit in this bath and cry. I'm gonna cry in the bath. I'm gonna get out of the bath. I'm gonna sit on the toilet and I'm gonna cry. And then I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna go to the living room. I'm gonna have a cup of tea. I'm gonna cry into my cup of tea. And I'm like, fucking hell. Like, is this it? Is this what we're gonna get for the rest of our lives? Fucking force fed what toffs think about how the rest of us live? Because I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like watching these. I mean, I think that we can all live together in the same ecosystem. I'm not saying that we shouldn't make these movies, because obviously some people enjoy them, and that's great, each to their own. But can we give everyone else a chance to tell their stories? Can we give working class people a chance to tell their stories? That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Can you give working class people a chance so we can hear their songs, so we can hear their music, so we can see their art? Please, I'm fucking begging the people in charge. Will you give the working class a chance? And they won't, because they're like, no, we're pulling up the drawbridge of our castles, because they all fucking live in fucking castles. We're pulling up the drawbridge. No. I'm going to give a job to Tarquin. There's only about 100 people who can actually make it in this country as a professional full-time actor. The rest of them, you're a part-timer, you're having to do something else, working in amateur productions, working on small little but low-budget movies that never see the light of day, really. And this is the big problem. The people who want to tell the stories aren't given the opportunities to tell those stories. And I think that's a mistake. I think it's a real mistake. Veg Pie, thank you very much. No documentary editing work for nearly 18 months. Bloody hell, Veg Pie. That's really shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. And I'm sorry that you, it's shit. I wish I could give you work. I've got a documentary for you to edit. I could go to Australia and try and find my lost tapes that Lonely Planet have seemingly thrown away. I go and find the trash pile that they've been thrown away, or the vault they've been locked away in the tapes from the first year of my journey. 136 tapes in 133 countries, well over half the countries of the world. I had high definition footage from those places that I do not have anymore. I do not have the high definition footage, and there's some tapes that I do not have at all, full stop. One of which had one of the last space shuttle blasts offs from Cape Canaveral in the USA, in Florida. I watched one of the last space shuttles lifting off from the Causeway, which is the closest place that that people can stand, the public can stand. It's the closest place you can get to. And I had high definition footage of that taking off. And that footage now, fuck, it's done a Doctor Who, like that Doctor Who's 97 missing episodes. Who knows where they are? Do a documentary. I go to Australia to try to track down my tapes. While I'm there, I meet the people who work for Lonely Planet when I was working for Lonely Planet, and we find out what the fuck happened to Lonely Planet. Little 1 hour documentary called Stabbed in the Backpack. Come on. Who doesn't want to watch that? Well, I mean, most people probably wouldn't want to watch that, but I would. I'd watch that. That sounds great to me. Billy's back, says Martin Harrow. Yes! Call off the search. Call off the dogs. Pete's music. Pagan, my triumph has reverse MAGAs as megaphone sound as awesome, if not a bit loud. What? Kate says, yes, there'll always be a difference, but at least it would make the rich invest and make sure that education is properly funded. You can't change human nature, but it's worked in other places. I mean, with private schools, stop them. Because you know what would really help? I've got a mate in Liverpool who works on the PTA of their school, and they were chuffed that they had managed to do so many quizzes and bring and buy sales and bake sales and fun days and things like that, and they'd raised £10,000 for the school. And I'm sitting there thinking, that is amazing. 1 year's work, PTA, £10,000 for this primary school in Liverpool. And I'm like, that's fucking fantastic. That's really, really good. Well done. But then there's another part of me thinking, do you know what? If a couple of the kids who went to that school, if their parents were literal millionaires, they could drop 10 grand on that school like that, and it would mean nothing to them. It could be a tax write-off. But those millionaires and billionaires those kids go to private schools. Those tax write-offs, if they want to give it to the charity that is that private school, they're going to give it to the private school. They're not going to give it to a state school. So if we get rid of private schools, they'll have no choice if they want to give money to a school that their kids go to, but to give it to the private school, to give it to the public school. Give it to the state school. Sorry. Give it to the state school. They'll have no choice. They'll have no choice in the matter. I mean, they can choose not to give any money at all, but if they choose to go down that route, yeah, right, cool. We'll have a little loophole that says you want to give money to schools, it's tax-free. You can claim it against your tax. There you go. Give all the money you like, but it has to be to state schools. It can't be to private schools anymore. I mean, these private schools have got golf courses. They've got tennis courts. They've got shooting ranges. They've got rivers that they can, private bits of the river that they and only they are allowed to fucking row down. The amount of money these schools make is eye-watering. And it's a business. And there's a business that abuses children. There's a story today on the BBC about some disgusting man who ran a private school with his disgusting partner, and they abused children in that private school. Of course they did. Of course they fucking did. And when you think about the fact that Ampleforth is still open, even though when James O'Brien was there was a teacher who regularly abused the children, sexually abused, raped the children. And that school's still open. How? How is anyone sending their children to a school that not only had a teacher that raped children, but the ethos of the school, they covered for the rapist teacher. They covered for a teacher who did that to children. And they send their children to this school, boarding school. Fucking hell. There are some sick fucks out there, and some of them have kids, unfortunately. Storyteller, because Teller was taken. I haven't seen you for ages. Hi, how's it going? Ever see the follow-up to 2 Years at Sea by Ben Rivers called Bogan Clock? That looked good for a British film by Ben Rivers, came out last year. Nope, not seen that. I would like to see it, maybe. I'll write that down. It's called Bogan Clock. That's a terrible name. I've got to say that's an unappealing name. Stakes on a Plane. There Will Be Blood. Good names. Kate Smith. There'll always be a difference. Yeah, I've read that one. Get a fat tire e-bike, Billy. Ooh, yes. I'm no filmmaker, but I look forward to trying to get a fantasy novel with a trans protagonist published one day. Yeah, that would be fucking great. Well, I want to do my trans version of Father Ted. I want to do an episode of Father Ted with an all trans cast, just to make Graham Linehan cry tears of blood. Oh, my mum's watching. Hi, Mum. Ishtar, I don't know. They should be able to donate to individual schools. To be honest, they should be forced to pay via tax, or if they want to donate, they can donate to the school system as a whole. I think they'll be more incentivized that their kids go to that particular school. That's what I'm saying. I think they should be incentivized to give money to schools, and I think they would be more incentivized if it was a school that their kid went to. I just think that's human nature. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It would be nice if people just paid more tax, but they pay very, very expensive accountants to get around that, don't they? The Labour government brought in Ofsted for private schools, I believe. Yes, it is. They have. Up till now, private schools didn't have to be inspected by Ofsted. The head of Ofsted went to a private school because, of course, she did. But yeah, they didn't have to inspect them, which I mean shows a lack of duty of care. That is disgraceful. They don't have to follow the national curriculum either. and they don't have to pay tax, and they don't have to, I don't know, abide by the rules of normal schools. All the other schools are hamstrung by funding and by having to follow national curriculum, which teaches kids about stuff that they might not need to know about in their GCSEs or their A levels or the baccalaureates. But yeah, these other schools, they can teach whatever the fuck they like, and so they teach them out the kids how to perform really well in A levels. And do you know what? I mean, when we had the COVID pandemic, did you notice they put the grades up for the posh kids, but not for everybody else? They put the grades down for everyone else. And this affected my nephew, who was going into university that year, and he's doing his A levels, and they had to suspend the A levels, so it was based on coursework, etc. And he was given like 3 A's as a predicted grade, and so was his mate, and they were both downgraded. And then they did an appeal, and they both got upgraded again, so they got into their preferred university. Only my nephew got in that year, but his Bezza, he was going to go to university with, the course had filled up in the time that he had to appeal, and as a result, didn't end up going to the university till the year afterwards. Had to take a year out, had to defer it for a year. So my nephew didn't get to go to university with his mate. That would have happened had the country at the time not been run by the private school mafia, who don't give a fuck about anyone but their rich little privileged mates who get to do everything that is fun in this country. They get to have all their fun. They get to do all the creative shit. They get to have all the top jobs, and they throw fucking scraps to the rest of us. And I don't really understand why people aren't as angry as I am about this. I don't understand why people roll their eyes when, oh God, Graham's going on about private schools again. Honestly, it is the poison at the heart of everything that is wrong with our society right now. Because we have a two-tier education system. And from that two-tier education system, we get two-tier everything. Everything stems from that. And when we have 92% of the people working in film and TV in this country coming from a middle class or an upper class background, that is a fucking disgrace. That is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to be British and know that as a statistic. It's not good for us. It makes no moral sense, and it makes no economic sense. It makes no economic sense whatsoever. But I've pitched movies in this country. I've been to pitching events, and the prize or the film that gets made, it always goes to the poshest person making that pitch with the most boring fucking idea for a film ever. If a film's plot will fit neatly into the plot line of a soap opera, of a British soap opera, don't make a film of it. Don't make a film of it, please. Make a TV show. Fine. Make a drama. Fine. That is great. Adolescents, right? If Adolescents had come out at the cinema, no fucker would have seen it. No one would have seen it. It was a format for TV. Drama is really, really good on TV. That kind of, drama, family drama, realistic stuff. Cinema is a place for magic. It is a place for somewhere to take you out of your daily life. You're happy to watch it on TV at home on your couch, but you want to be taken to some place that you've never experienced before. It's got to be outlandish. It's got to be something fantastical. It's got to have that magic. It's got to be magic. You've got to fill the screen, not just with the story, not just with the drama of two characters not getting on, but with more than that. And if we don't seem to learn the lessons in this country. And it's why we continuously make romantic comedies and fucking period dramas again and again and again. How many times do we have to remake Sense and Sensibility? Like, how many times do we have to remake the same fucking 3 stories again and again and again and again? No, Daddy Pig, I don't want to marry him. He's the giraffe. Not interested, right? And I'm not saying that these films shouldn't exist at all, but they're not building anything. And it breaks my heart that we used to do such great horror movies back in the day, and then I thought 20 years ago, it's stuff like 28 Days Later, we're going to have this really great British horror resurgence, but it never really happened. There was no joined up thinking. We made a few good British horror films, But then it kind of all fizzled out. I mean, 28 Years Later is coming out this year. Okay, I hope that's good. But we don't make any science fiction movies. I ask people, like, can you name a British science fiction movie? And people say, well, this was, Star Wars was filmed in the UK. Not that Star Wars is science fiction, it's more science fantasy, but it was filmed in the UK. I'm like, yeah, but it was an American film. Name me a British film, science fiction. There you go. British production, British distributors, British cast, British crew, filmed in Britain. Sunshine, Danny Boyle, with Cillian Murphy. Sunshine, okay. Quatermass and the Pit. You can go back to what? The 1950s? Okay, name me another. I mean, I've asked movie experts, like proper movie buffs. I put my movie buffness to shame. I've asked them this question. Name me 3 British science fiction movies. They fucking can't. This is the country whose IP, like we can call it our country's IP. Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, The Time Machine. Like, what the fuck? We're not making science fiction? And H.G. Wells, for Christ's sake. We had Mary Shelley. And we're not making science... Yep. Why are there no British horror based on Bonfire Night? Yep. Well, I suppose there's V for Vendetta, although that was a Warner Brothers film. But that's based on Bonfire Night. The adolescents team are going to remake nuclear drama Threads. That'll be mega. It's going to be fucked up. I hope they do the same trick with it being one shot, going through all these different... Threads is very much like vignettes of different people trying to survive this nuclear bomb that's gone off in near Sheffield, the nuclear holocaust. It's pretty grim. Jez says, I'm working class and in film and TV, doing leather work. You have to be really good to break in. Tiny moment of ego there. That's fine, mate. And then everyone else wants you on the production because you graft. Yeah. Quatermass says, Phillips. Veg Pie, can't wait for people to see it. Maybe Doctor Who and the Daleks, but that's science fantasy. It's not science fiction. It's science fantasy. It's a bit different. Your Lonely Planet Australia backpack documentary sounds amazing. Yeah, I'd love to do that. You give me £10,000, I can make that documentary for you. I can go and interview these people who work for Lonely Planet and ask what went wrong when the BBC bought Lonely Planet in 2008 and then promptly went around wrecking it, and then they sold it at a £50 million loss. Oh my God, there's your headline right there. To an American tobacco baron who then sold it on 10 years hence to a fucking hedge funds company or something, venture capitalist company. They didn't give a crap about Lonely Planet. They mothballed the HQ in Melbourne, which had my tapes in the HQ in Melbourne, and they told everyone to work from home. How'd you take the biggest travel book company in the world and fuck it up so badly? I think that's worth a little 1-hour documentary at the very least. Especially as we live in a country where a posh woman goes to the BBC and says, I'm thinking of having bees in my back garden. And they're like, oh, you're going to have bees in your back garden, darling? She says, yes, darling, bees in my back garden. I shit you not. There was some privately educated old lady who did a multi-part series on BBC4 about her fucking bees in the back garden. But how difficult it is, when you're 84 years old to look after bees in the back garden of my country fucking pile. So relatable. What do we put on during the TV during the day? It's like Homes Under the Hammer. So relatable. I'm thinking of adding a 7th property to my portfolio. So relatable. I've got a budget, Grand Designs. We've got a budget of £500,000. Hey, I've got pregnant. How did that happen? Grand Designs. So relatable. So fucking relatable. And then what do we get? What do the rest of us get? We get fucking Benefit Street. Povo porn. Benefit Street. Fucking hell, Channel 4. Hang your head in fucking shame for that one. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Doomsday, made by Dog Soldiers, Neil Marshall. Oh, I like Dog Soldiers. That was good. Was that the one with the werewolves in World War One? Was that Dog Soldiers? I'm fucking making this up now. It was 9 Lives of Thomas Katz, sci-fi. I think that was sci-fi. The Life and Times of Lord Vengeance, The Twice Mad, part 2 of Space Odyssey. Don't know. Unfortunately, my dim-witted mother thinks that anything that isn't a manual, unskilled job isn't a real job. I'm a great disappointment being trans and working in theatre. Oh, I'm sorry, Purity. I hate this idea of having a real job. I hate the way people look at me when I go, yeah, I'm a YouTuber. And, it depends. I gauge the situation. because I don't bring out the big guns when I meet new people until, I'm in a position where I'm like, fuck you all. Because you're all looking down at me going, whatever, mate, whatever. And then I, mention the fact that, I may never have had a real job, but I have 2 Guinness World Records and a private island, and I have been to every country in the world without flying. Boom. So, done a few things. Won a private island in a game show. Although it just cost me money. Jesus Christ. That fucking place. Kate Smith, I love the bees. Don't bee bash. No, I'm not bee bashing. I'm just saying it. If you can get money from the BBC to make a documentary because you're passionate, you want to have bees, I think that's a little rum. I want to spend a lot of money on beekeeping stuff. I'm not going to lie to you. I think I've been stung. Hey! From Lucy Willis. Very good. Neil Marshall also directed the 3rd Hellboy film. It gets slated, but I love it. Well, it wasn't directed by Guillermo del Toro, was it? So, what do you expect? Oh, God. The Guillermo del Toro Hobbit films, they live rent-free in my head. What could have been? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's not that's not really. Is that sci-fi? I don't know, but it's American money anyway. It was the lads who made sort of Rambo, wasn't it? Who made it? But yeah, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, arguably, but I think it was American money. In fact, let's look it up. Hitchhiker's Guide. What year did it come out? 2005 was it? I watched that again more recently. Yeah, 2005. God, I'm good. Good. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, science fiction film, based on Buena Vista. It's Walt Disney. Walt Disney, peeps. Sorry, it was a Walt Disney film. Doesn't count. Not having that. Production company was Touchstone Pictures, which is American, and Spyglass Entertainment, which is also American, founded by Gary Barber and Roger Birnbaum in 1995. Sorry. Right, I've gone over time by about half an hour. That's all right. Are you having a good time? Are you still having a good time out there? Do you want me to continue whittering on, or would you rather piss off and listen to James O'Brien? Let's have a look at our figures. How we're doing. If we got off a cliff on the stream here, then I'll pack it in. I will pack it in. Yeah. So let's have a look. We've still got 105 concurrent viewers. That's all right. Keep going for a little bit. You know what? If I was doing stand-up and I had 200 people in a fucking room, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Every morning, 200 people turn up to hear what I had to say about shit. That'd be fucking boss. But also, like, imagine like a stand-up where you have someone talking and they're telling you about stuff, whatever, right? Giving a speech. But at the same time, you're having a natter with the person next to you. But it's not rude. That's what we're doing here. It's not boss. That's something that technology can do. Because if I was on a stage and you're in the audience watching me saying this and you having a natter about, what you're going on about, yeah, honestly, I think that's I think it's a miracle. I think it's a miracle that I can sit here in our spare room, with the fold-out couch settee, whatever it's called, the bed settee behind me, and do this shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is amazing. Technology is amazing. It's technology amazing. So, yeah, I should probably stop moving my arms around so much. I can see the replay on the screen. I'm like this. Stop moving your hands around, Graham. It's very distracting. Anyway, so should we have a look at the papers? A quick look at the papers. We've got the Great War of China from the Daily Mirror here. Sarah Brown talking about the loss of their child she had with Gordon Brown. And we've got Jack and Dan. There is so much love. This is EastEnder Jacqueline Josser with her husband Dan Osborne. Okay, cool. Erratic Trump's new gamble, the Great War of China. I'll see what they've done there, because it's the Great Wall of China, but they've changed it to war. He hits Beijing with the 125% tariff and 90-day pause for other countries is a big climb down. It is a big climb down, and he should be fucking embarrassed at the Times here. What do we got? The rich are leaving. Will we miss them? No. Talking of the rich, there's Gwyneth Paltrow, Nepo baby. Guide for stepmothers. Okay, thanks for that. Is it to eat kale every day, Gwyneth? Do you just eat kale? Are you going to just eat some kale? Can have some kale to eat. Russia attacking on multiple fronts in spring offensive, says Kyiv. Russia has doubled the number of military assaults along the front line. as part of a new spring offensive, which isn't great. I thought it was the mud season at the moment. Does mud season come soon? Trump puts the brakes on tariffs for 90 days. Dramatic U-turn as China is hit with 125% rate. Simple home spit test can spot prostate cancer signs. This is a really interesting story about they look at your saliva. They can't tell whether you have cancer or not, but there are certain markers, genetic markers, that show you are more likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer. And this could allow for earlier diagnosis, because particularly with prostate cancer, if you can get it early, it's curable. If you leave it too late, it is not curable. So this is something that would be amazing. The test could be done at home. A simple saliva test. Okay, so back to the papers. We've got the Daily Tory graph here. We've got a fella. Oh Christ, what the hell is it? What even has happened right now? Well, that's not coming up. Okay, I'll leave it on this page. The rise of the silver splurgers. Rich people have got loads of money. Not the rest of us don't. Whatever happened to the Bath Oliver? Oh, I don't know. Just whatever. Is that a question? Is that like Bath, Oliver? Are they asking someone called Oliver what happened to the bath? Or is that a thing that people used to put in the bath? Yeah, we used to wear I wore an onion on my belt, which was the fashion of the time. Trump blinks first in trade war. Yes, and they've got a picture of the king and queen there for some reason. They're not doing anything. They're just standing there. I stand by what I said yesterday. Weirdos who want to know what their neighbours are doing. Police put block on white recruits to boost diversity. Okay, cool, good. Financial Times, stocks soar as Trump presses tariffs, pause button and hits China harder. This is the cover of the Financial Times. Trying to find a grand plan behind these tariffs is pointless. There is a grand plan behind it. It's to fuck America. This is what Trump wants to do. He wants to fuck the Western world because he's doing what he's told by Vladimir Putin. I mean, it's really fucking simple. If someone can give me a good argument why that's not happening, I'd love to hear it. If Trump was working for Vladimir Putin, what would he do differently? Answer, nothing. First signs of retreat, 90-day reprieve, non-retaliators spurred, levies for Beijing raised to 125%. What lies behind the bond sell-off after stock markets crashed last week? US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent tried to soothe frazzled investor nerves. Most Americans in a 401k pension plan have what we call the 60-40 account, and they're only down 5 or 6%. So with these 40-60 accounts, the idea is that 40% of your 401k is invested in the stock market, and the other 60 is invested in the bond market, which is seen as a safe bet because you're lending money to the government. And they're giving you an interest on you loaning your money to that or the company or whatever it is, loaning the money to the government. They know they're going to get a set interest on that investment, or yield on that investment after it matures after 10 years or however long it is. Obviously, because the bond market's been buggered as well by the Trump tariffs. It means that 401ks are down on both counts. So there you go. But there's been a big bond sell-off. Just to read on for that point. Or in plain English, since investment managers typically place 40% of a portfolio on fixed income, falling equity prices should be partly offset by rising bond prices, since those typically move in the opposite direction, or at least according to financial textbooks. No longer, however. This week, bond prices have plunged among signs of poor demand at a Treasury auction. This is highly unusual, as market analysis Larry McDonald points out. During the stock market crashes of 2008, 2001, 1997, or 1987, bond prices mostly rise. Indeed, this double whammy has only been seen recently during the COVID-19 pandemic. Interesting. Sorry to hear about your hay fever there, Duke Vengeance. That's a bit shit. Sorry about that. Should we head back onto we only have 4 real friends. This is from the Daily Star. The War of the Jezzas. I have a car, not a child's bike. So this is Jeremy Clarkson and Jeremy Vine, both private Nepo babies, private school mafia, of course. You've got Trump there, another private school mafia. You've got the guy Simon Bird from, what's it called? From the In-Betweeners there, private school mafia. Big bigot Mickey's warning. Mickey Rourke there for some reason. I don't know what he's doing. And then we've got Trump risks Great Mall of... Do you see what they've done there? Because it's usually the Great Wall of China, but they put mall. Insults then shock 125% tariff. Beijing vows we will never accept this bullying. Well, they don't have to because they have shored themselves up for potential tariffs coming at them. Went back too far. Didn't go back that far. Oh, that's it. The papers have ended. It's over. It's all over. You can come out now. It's all over. As much as I hate plants, I know quite a bit about plants. Is that because they're giving you all pollen up your nose? The bastard. Royal of the day, Graham. Get with the plot. Yeah, picture of the same family. People from the same family on the front cover. I was going to say, when I said yesterday, like, maybe if they were signing a treaty or turning up somewhere or giving reparations, giving a big novelty check to a country, that should be in the news. But it should be on page 14. It's not front page news. I don't care. In the case of Trump, never mind the private school, the actual mafia. Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, we have seen a transition from the mafia being working class kids who, School of Hard Knocks and all that jazz, and whoever was the most ruthless came out on top. We've seen that same mentality transposed to the aristocracy and the neo-aristocracy, the people who own gold toilets. I mean, you can say there's no American aristocracy, but there fucking is. I mean, there totally is. There is generational wealth passed down through generation to generation, and no one can touch it anymore because they have wormed themselves into all of these top places around America in the same way that the mafia got into the unions. The private school mafia have got themselves into these positions of power, not just in the US but in the UK as well, where they're pretty entrenched. It's very, very difficult. Think of all the fucking whining that we heard because posh privileged parents were having to spend a little bit more on their private school fees. They never mention the fact that private school fees have doubled in the last few years anyway, because the people who run these private schools as a private business where they routinely abuse children, and the ones they don't abuse they send off into the world as, I don't know, fucking narcissistic sociopaths. So, I call them See You Next Tuesday farms, and people get really upset with me and say, I went to a private school and I'm not a See You Next Tuesday. And I'm like, well, some escape, some escape. Some come out unscathed, but I'm sorry, but the vast majority of people who went to private school in this country turn out all a bit wrong. And you've got to admit that. That's the first step to admitting, to dealing with the problem, is admitting we've got a problem. And we seem very reticent to do that because people who don't go to private school and people who don't send their kids to private school feel this urge to defend them and go, oh, come on, Graham, it's not everyone. And well, I actually like Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor. Yes, I like him too. I'm not saying he shouldn't be an actor, but I'm saying that those roles that he gets, there should be an opportunity for someone from a working class background to go for those roles, but there isn't. Those roles don't exist for these people unless you are incredibly, incredibly lucky and or talented, or a mixture of both. Whereas the people in the private school mafia, they don't even have to be that fucking talented. Look at Lawrence Fox, private school mafia, Harrow alumni. He's an untalented shit actor. He just turns up and says things. Like, he's not, there's nothing to him. He's a shit actor. But he was getting all these fucking roles because he came from the famous acting Fox family, along with Michael J. and Jamie and Fantastic Mr. Like, I can't stand any of them. Like, they can all fuck off. I'm sorry, but they can all fuck off because every time this is brought up to them, they kick back and say, well, I'm okay. It's not me. This knee-jerk reaction to justify the system that they've done really fucking well out of. They go, well, actually, not everyone who goes to private school is a complete twat, Graham. And I'm like, yeah, not everyone, but enough of them. But even if everyone who went to private school is the most wonderful, kind, generous, loving person you could ever fucking meet, they still hog all the top jobs, all the fun jobs. And we're left with a society that tells us, people like us who went to state school, that we don't have a real job. Does anyone say that to Benedict Cumberbatch? No, they fucking don't. Does anyone say that to Christopher Nolan? No, they fucking don't. Why would they? They're doing these things. They're making these amazing movies. So it's okay to not have a real job if you're real, in inverted commas, if you went to private school. But if you didn't go to private school, those jobs aren't for you. You shouldn't even try. That's the most disgusting thing about that attitude. The most horrible thing that people can say, right? Or one of them. I mean, obviously, racism, bigotry, transphobia, whatever. But that aside, is that someone has ideas above their station. You hear a working class person say that, and my blood boils. I'm like, fuck you, man. Who has a fucking station? We all have a station in life. We all have a place that we live. And you want to be an LBC presenter? Oh my dear, which school did you go to? Oh, it wasn't a private school. Well, you can fuck off then, because 68% of our presenters on LBC are all privately educated, don't you know? Isn't that mad? 68% of the presenters. You can listen to you can listen to LBC from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night on some days, and you won't hear a single presenter who went to a state school. Isn't that mad? Isn't that just the maddest thing you've ever... I think that's mad. And I think that's absolutely crazy. So yeah, let me have a look. My God. I'm just on the Private School Mafia Private School Mafia site. Google Private School Mafia or go to privateschoolmafia.com. I mean, the number of actors is just absolutely insane. All the way from Abigail Thorne, all the way down to Zoe Wanamaker, A to Z. There must be a couple hundred actors in there. Authors, Douglas Adams, R.I.P., Alain de Botton, Roald Dahl, Neil Gaiman, problematic. Sebastian Faulks, Salman Rushdie, went to rugby school. I mean, Sophie Kinsella, who does the Hooray for Gin books, I think. And then we've got the Brexiters. How many Brexiters have we got here? Patrick Minford, Larry Elliott, Andy Wigmore, Aaron Banks, Daniel Hannan, David Campbell Bannerman, who's the grandson of an old fucking prime minister of ours, Lance Foreman, remember him, Matthew Elliott, Richard Tice, Simon Wolfden, Douglas Carswell, Robert Colville, Charlie Elfico, the convicted sex offender, privately educated, of course. But then we got people on our side. You've got Mehdi Hassan. He's great. I like him, but he went to private school. But then we get down to the comedians. The comedians, oh my God. Alan Carr, Ed Edmondson, Alan Davis, Alex Horn, Alfie Brown. I mean, that's just for the A's. But then we go get all the way... I'm going to just scroll all the way down to LBC presenter. Some of these might be missing because I might have just put them down as a presenter. I've got to try and remember what order the alphabet goes in. Let's have a look. Lib Dem, LBC presenter. Okay, look at this. So Ali Mirage, privately educated. Andrew Castle, Camilla Tominay, Clive Bull, Daniel Barnett, Ian Payne, James O'Brien, Matt Fry, Matthew Statland, Nick Abbott, Nick Ferrari, Rachel Johnson, Richard Spur, and Tom Swarbrick. All of them. All of them went to private school, mate. So it's just, let's listen to what private school people have to say. These people working for newspapers, writing the reports for newspapers, writing tabloids, gossip columns for newspapers, opinion pieces for newspapers, they're all privately educated. Every bit of media that we consume in this country, with the possible exception of this, it comes through the prism of the private school mafia. They create what they want you to see, what they want you to experience. The world that they want you to live in goes through their prism. The way you see the world is based on what the private school mafia want you to see the world. And I've seen the world. I've seen a very different world from the world that these people want to portray. And it's great. It's an awesome, beautiful, incredible world with beautiful, incredible people populating it. But this idea that we shouldn't feel bad about things that Britain's done in the past, it's all private school mafia. This idea that we should pretend that history never happened and change the signs in a national trust property so they don't mention slavery, rewriting history of our country. Because we don't want the bad history, we just want the good history, don't we? Come on. Anyway, I'm sure I'm whittled on long enough. It's 45 minutes past. 45 minutes past. Bloody hell. Have a look at the Hawke report. Come on, the state educated, said Katie Smith. Yeah, We're 93% of the population, Kate. Come on. Like, there's more of us. We won't make money from that, says Jed Hunt. Was all I heard when trying to do creative stuff as a kid and adult. Nice to prove them wrong, but it was the case for most of my life. You're absolutely right. It is so difficult to make money out of creative industries. So with YouTube, at least I can do stuff every day and get a little bit of money in each day through super chats, etc. Which just about keeps my head above water. But I have to say, if I had to have my own place and I was paying rent in my own place to some fat fucking landlord who, doesn't come and fix the fucking water when it goes cold, I wouldn't be able to do this channel. I would not be able to do this channel. I'd have to pay the bills, have to pay the council tax, and have to pay the rent. I couldn't afford it. Simple as that. So you would have to find something else to do in the morning, I guess. I don't know how shit that would be for you, but it is because of Catherine, my partner, who earns a good wage, that I'm able to do this. If that hadn't happened, if I hadn't got with her, then this wouldn't be happening. You wouldn't be watching these shows on this channel. And that is a huge dollop of fortune as far as I'm concerned. And I understand the privilege that I have in my life being able to do this. And yet, with that support system in place, it's still barely enough to make minimum wage on this channel. And there are people who make shitloads of money out of YouTube. They're very few and far between. Very, very, very few and far between. But if you're an actor, you're working as a freelancer, essentially. You only get work when you've got work. And then when you're not in work, you could have 18 months like Veg Pie where you don't have any work coming in. You're an editor, you're a director, you're a writer. No work for 18 months. People can't survive off that. They really can't. You end up getting another job or doing some other side hustles to make money. That takes up all your time and you don't get to pour your heart and soul into the creative industry in which you wish to create stuff. And this is my point. Like, I'm not an arbiter of like everything that is going around saying, "Oh, this is not good art. This is not good." I see stuff that I think is shit, right? And it's worth a fortune. It's worth an absolute fortune. Usually, the person who's created it is some aristocrat. They've gone, I made a scrapbook. Oh, so I'm going to sell my scrapbook for £1 million. It's worth £1 million, so my publicist tells me. And I don't want to stop them from selling their scrapbook for £1 million, but I think there's a lot of working class people who could make something just as good, if not better. And they could sell it for more because it's better. It just is. But at the moment, we're given... It's like our internet is just... Our internet could be running a 1 terabyte, 1 terabit per second, and yet we put a block on it, so it's running at 56k. That's what we're doing at the moment. It's like, why have you got a block on it? Oh, we don't want it running any faster. We just want this like little bit of the internet that you're allowed to actually experience. Open the floodgates. Open the floodgates. Anyway, Purity says, what pissed me off is unless you're crazy lucky, your future is condemned if you didn't go to private school. There's no way around it. Yeah, Purity. Absolutely, Purity. I couldn't agree more with you. It really does set you up for life or down for life. It sets you down for life if you didn't go to private school. Graham, I asked you in Phil many times, what are Labour doing about Tory and private ed people running all the TV and media stations and papers? I don't know, Andrew. Not much at the moment. I don't think it's a particular focus of Labour, but I feel like it should be. But when you've got a committee on culture, media, and support of culture, media, and sport, 3 areas that are absolutely dominated, especially elite sports, by the private school mafia, like, please don't put someone from the private school mafia as the chair of that committee. But maybe they don't think the same way I do. I don't know. That used to be called a meritocracy. We used to have more of a meritocracy. We used to. Not anymore. Okay, so I'm going to head off now. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all of your wonderful messages. Thanks for the super chats. One thing before you go, please give us a like. Give us a like. I'll look at the stats. We have, how many likes do we have? Why is it not showing me the likes? I've got to stretch it out a little bit to see the likes. We've got 171 people watching and 118 likes. So if you want to give us a like now, that would be That would be fucking wonderful. That'd be the best thing. And also, if you'd like to get a rose next to your name, like Sarah, Serendipity Journey, Andrew Ray, if you get a rose next to your name, you hit that little lovely join button, if it's available, and pay just a couple of quid a month. Just a couple of quid. More if you want to. You know, there's layers. There's stratas, whatever they call it. It really, really helps this channel out. So until tonight, when I will be returning at 6 p.m. for Hughes of the World, where we'll be going to the East African country of Djibouti. Djibouti, which is one of my favourite names for a country in the world, along with Azerbaijan. So yeah, please join me to learn more about former French Somalia, Djibouti, in the east of Africa, somewhere I've been. But then, you know, I've been most places, so not saying much. But yeah, Djibouti City is the capital, and the place is called Djibouti. Love it. Can't go wrong. Okay, so I'll see you at 6 o'clock for that tonight, I hope. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock for another morning brew. And until then, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.